All right, now let's shift focus to Jammu and Kashmir amid spate of terror-targeted killings in Jammu and Kashmir. Union Home Minister Amit Shah is all set to meet and in fact chair a high-level meeting to review the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir. Lt Governor Manoj Singa and DGP of Jammu and Kashmir Police will be attending that meeting. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is also expected to be part of that meeting. This meeting comes in the backdrop of the migrant labourer being shot dead in central Kashmir's Budgam yesterday. This incident came hours after a bank manager from Rajasthan was gunned down in Kulgam yesterday. And there have been 3 targeted killings in the last 3 days in the valley. As fear and anxiety grips the valley, Home Minister Amit Shah will be chairing this crucial meeting. Meanwhile, there have been some migrant and Hindu families who have started moving towards Jammu. Remember, this comes after a threat of mass migration by the minority communities there in Kashmir. Few of the families demanding safe and secure environment after these string of targeted killings have started moving towards Jammu. Let's in fact listen in to some of the reactions.
श्रीनगर से निकल चुके हैं, पलायन कर चुके हैं। हमारे बहुत सारे भाई लोग हैं। हम नेशनल हाईवे में अभी रामबन पहुंचे हैं और बहुत जल्दी हम लोग जम्मू पहुंच जाएंगे। हाँ, ये देखिए हमारे साथ हमारे भाई लोग हैं, बहुत सारे लोग हैं हमारे साथ जो कश्मीर से पलायन कर चुके हैं और जम्मू की तरफ रवाना हो गए हैं।
हम आदरणीय एलजी साहब और यूटी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन से ये गुजारिश करते हैं कि हम कश्मीरी पंडितों की जान बचाई जाए, हमें यहाँ से जम्मू जाने दिया जाए। हमें सरकार ने यहाँ पर होस्टेजेस बनाया है, हमें घर से बाहर नहीं निकलने दिया जा रहा है। डर के मारे हमारा पूरा परिवार यहाँ सहम गया है, हमारे बच्चे डर के मारे सहम गया है, क्योंकि इस वक्त जो है यहाँ कश्मीर में सिक्योरिटी फेलियर है। जैसे कि हमारे भाई विजय कुमार जी को आज मारा गया। तो हम गुजारिश करते हैं, एलजी साहब से विनम्र प्रार्थना करते हैं कि हम पे ये जुल्म ना करे, हमें यहाँ से निकाला जाए, हमें जम्मू जाने दिया जाए। हमारे भाइयों को शेखपुरा में, विसू में, मटन में होस्टेजेस बना के रखा गया है। हमें बहुत सारी ज़रूरतें हैं, हमें खाना भी खाना है, हम एक कमरे में कैसे रह सकते हैं? हमें मार्केट से सब्ज़ी भी लानी है। ये बहुत बड़ी विडंबना है, ये सरकार का फेलियर है, ये एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का फेलियर है। तो हम गुजारिश करते हैं एलजी साहब से, प्लीज़ हम रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं कि हमें यहाँ से बाहर निकाला जाए।
मैं और मेरी फैमिली हम कल ही आए हैं, क्योंकि कल जब दिन में एक साथ 2 बार ये सब कुछ हुआ, तो कल पहले जब रजनी बाला की जब हमें सारी डिटेल्स पता चली, उसके बाद शाम को एक पिक्चर के साथ में एक हमारे पास एक नोटिस आता है विशाल नाम के लड़के का कि ही इज़ द नेक्स्ट वन, जिसके पिक्चर के ऊपर नेक्स्ट वन लिखा हुआ था। आफ्टर दैट हमारी फैमिलीज जो थी वो काफ़ी घबरा गई कि अब ये जो है 90s का दोबारा से दौर शुरू हो गया, अब हमें यहाँ से जाना चाहिए। तो उसके बाद हम चले गए। उसके बाद फिर हमारी कम्युनिटीज़ और मैं और मेरे साथ बहुत सारे लोग, जो हम लोग रेंटेड हाउसेज में रहते हैं, जहाँ पे आपके पास कोई पुलिस की सिक्योरिटी नहीं है, कोई आर्मी नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, हम लोगों ने फिर आपस में डिसाइड किया कि अब जब इतना कुछ हो रहा है तो अब हमें जाना चाहिए। बिकॉज पहले राहुल भट्ट को उसकी चेयर पे मारा गया, अब रजनी वाला को उसकी क्लास में मारा गया। सो आई डोंट थिंक वहाँ पे अब कोई भी ऐसा हमारे पास रीज़न बचता है वहाँ रहने के लिए।
All right, let's go across to Pradeep joining us live from Jammu and Kashmir. Pradeep, 2 things. First, there is, of course, fear and security concerns among the migrant and the Kashmiri Pandit families there in the valley. How many of them have started moving towards Jammu? And second, what's expected at this high-powered meeting that is going to be chaired by Home Minister Amit Shah?
See, so far as Kashmiri Hindu community is concerned, they are fed up with the hollow assurances. That's one of the reasons that they have decided to leave Kashmir Valley. Already they have sent a feeler to the government also. They either relocate them, otherwise they will be left with no option but to leave for Jammu. 40 of those families have already left. Late last night they reached here, and today morning I had been interacting with them. All of them had been saying, Jaan hai to jahan hai, because life is more important and crucial for them. Only they will be able to work on once they are able to survive. Because recent surge in targeted killings has generated an atmosphere of fear. The story of genocide, ethnic cleansing and horror that started in early 90s at behest of Pak-sponsored terrorists and is being continuing today also. We have seen that it was Rahul Bhatt, followed by Rajni Bala. Then it was a bank manager yesterday. Then two of those laborers were targeted. One of them succumbed to his injuries. Another is battling for life in hospital. So in such a situation, it really becomes very difficult for the people to live there, because only assurances cannot work. Because though the government has said that they'll be taken to the safer places, that means the people who are working in far-flung areas, they'll be made to work in district headquarters. But they say in such a situation where a person like Rahul Bhatt, who was working in SDM office, at any given point of time, there is a security. If the terrorists can barge inside high secure STM office and kill him on point blank range. So how come they are going to ensure the security of other Kashmiri Hindus? Many of them are quite worried, concerned about this thing. That's one of the reasons that once again, after 32 years, we have seen exodus of Kashmiri Pandits who had settled down there for the last 8 to 10 years. And once again, everybody thought that maybe that fabric of composite culture that has been restaged by the government through this employment package. But once again, that fabric has been torn apart by the guns sponsored from across the border. Right now, I'm joined by one of the family members. बता सकते हैं कि कितनी families यहाँ पे जगती में आ चुकी हैं कल से?
देखिए, अगर सिर्फ जगती की बात करेंगे तो 30 से 40 फैमिलीज़ तो यहाँ ही आ चुकी है कल से अभी तक, और अभी बहुत सारी फैमिली ऑन द वे हैं, क्योंकि जैसा आपने कहा जान है तो जहाँ है, क्योंकि इन सब फैमिलीज़ को अभी ये मालूम है कि हम वहाँ पर सेफ़ नहीं है कश्मीर में।
क्या वजह है कि सरकार की तरफ से एश्योरेंसेस देने के बावजूद भी फैमिलीज आ रही हैं?
देखिए, सरकार तो इतने टाइम से एश्योरेंस दे ही रही है, इसके अलावा तो और तो कुछ वो कर नहीं रही है ऑन ग्राउंड। तो जान तो जा रही है वो कश्मीरी पंडित या वहाँ के जो अदर माइनॉरिटीज़ हैं, इनकी जान जा रही है। जो हमारे टॉप ब्यूरोक्रेट्स हैं, इनके बच्चों की तो जान नहीं जा रही है, इसलिए ये सिर्फ एश्योरेंस ही दे रहे हैं। अभी रिसेंटली आप जितनी भी किलिंग्स देखेंगे वो किलिंग्स हुई कहाँ हैं, सारे या डीसी ऑफिस में या इस मजिस्ट्रेट ऑफिस के पास, या अभी रिसेंटली जो एक ग्रेनेड अटैक हुआ वो भी डीसी ऑफिस एंड एसएसपी ऑफिस के साथ में ही हुआ। तो ये सारे जो अटैक्स हो रहे हैं ये सारे सेफ जोन में हो रहे हैं।
देखिए, आज एक क्रूशियल मीटिंग होने जा रही है। आप गृह मंत्री से क्या कहना चाहेंगे, होम मिनिस्टर से क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
देखिए, हम सब की एक ही डिमांड है, जो हमारे पीएम पैकेज एम्प्लॉयज़ है या जितने भी माइनॉरिटीज़ है, उन सब को रीलोकेट किया जाए सेफर जोन। हम सिर्फ ये नहीं कह रहे हैं कि हमें जम्मू में ही लाया जाए, कश्मीर को छोड़कर आप कहीं भी ले जाएं, हम जाने के लिए रेडी हैं।
See, there's an atmosphere of fear, because all eyes will be on the important crucial meeting that will be chaired by Home Minister Amit Shah today. And that meeting, Lt Governor Manoj Singa will also be present, and they are going to review security. Already certain measures have been taken, because 350 companies meant for Amarnath pilgrimage, 150 have already reached there, and in coming days the 200 more will be sent to that place. One, because there are two important tasks on hand. One, they have to ensure safety and security of the Kashmiri Hindus putting up in Valley. And the second is that they have to ensure safe and secure Amarnath pilgrimage. That is to start on June 30th. So there are two important things that will be discussed during the meeting. And besides this, they will also be discussing about the surgical strike that can be carried out against all those terror-related elements operating in Kashmir Valley, because the policy of the government is zero tolerance toward terrorism, zero tolerance towards separatism. So they will not allow any terror-related elements to raise their heads and once again create a situation where the Kashmiri Hindus are left with no other option but to flee from their homes where they had been putting up for the 8 to 10 years. Because this will be a big setback for the government. A reason being, when the employment package was started, the idea was to once again rehabilitate and ensure return of Kashmiri Hindus. That's what the government had promised, and that had been the part of the BJP's manifesto also. So they wanted to ensure return of Kashmiri Hindus. But because of this hybrid terror incidents, once again there is an atmosphere of fear. Many of them are scared about their lives, and they feel that the government has failed to provide them enough security. So in such a situation, they are left with no option but to leave their homes and come out to Jammu or any other place. So that's one of the reasons that the main demand of the Kashmiri Hindu employees who are working there as either for the inter-district or Prime Minister package, they're saying that they should be relocated. They are saying relocated either to Jammu or any other part of the country, but they want to be in a safe and secure atmosphere. That means away from the gun culture that is being sponsored from across the border, because this community has suffered a lot. They have suffered during the last 32 years. I mean, 32 years back also, they were forced to abandon their hearths and home that time because of Pak-sponsored terrorism. Again, we have seen that how Pak-sponsored terrorists are targeting Hindus and Hindustanis because they do not want to see footprints of Hindus, nor they do not want to see the footprints of Hindustani. When I'm saying Hindustani, I'm talking about Saifullah, Constable Saifullah. Why he was targeted? Because he was there for motherland India, he was there for idea of one India, he was there for the country. And that's why his child was also not spared. The bullets were sprayed on young daughter also, though she survived. So that's the situation in Kashmir Valley right now. In such a situation, they feel that assurances are not really going to work. They will have to take some kind of concrete steps, and action need to be initiated against all those terror elements who are once again raising their head. And what is really unfortunate right now, Mohit, is that even mainstream political party, they are speaking their language. Nobody is standing with the victim. Everybody is speaking for the villain. Other day we saw that Mehbooba Mufti was beating chest for terrorists like Yasin Malik when he was convicted. But nobody is speaking for them. Every time they try to blame government whenever something wrong happens in Kashmir Valley. And if security forces kill terrorists, again they blame security forces. This has become a standard operation procedure for them. But nobody will be standing with the people who have suffered a lot because of 32 years. Nobody will be speaking for the victim. That is really unfortunate, and that is really tragic. And another big tragedy is that time also, 32 years back also, civil society did not utter a word. They maintained complete silence. And that criminal silence, I always say, is more dangerous even than gun violence. And I think this is the time when the civil society need to come out, because tomorrow, when the terrorists will be coming for them, nobody will be there to speak for these people too.
All right, Pradeep, we leave it there. Thanks very much for joining us with those details and getting us that voice of a family there which has moved to Jammu, concerned about safety and security of their families. Now, Times Network's Ishan Wani sent us this report from Budgam, where the terrorists entered the temporary shelter of a labourer and killed him. Listen in to the eyewitness narrating his ordeal.
देखा भाई हमारे साथ कोई आदमी हमारा ही आ रहा है, पर हमने ये नहीं देखा था भाई कोई वैसे भी। जब पास में पहुंचे, उन्होंने इधर जुग्गी में फायर किया, 2 फायर निकाला। तो एक पे दिल के लगा गोली थी, एक पे हाथ पे लगा था, वो बच गया हाथ वाला। तो जो दिल पे लगा तो उसको सदर गांव में खड़ा, तो उसको तो वहां से बोला भी नहीं इधर नहीं इलाज होगा, उसको श्रीनगर में भेज दिया। उधर जाते जाते उसकी डेथ हो गया। तो हम इधर नहीं रहेंगे, हम चले जाएंगे पंजाब में, इधर नहीं काम करेंगे अब।
तो अब कितने साल से यहाँ पे काम कर रहे थे, और इससे पहले क्या हालात है यहाँ पे, और अब कल क्या हुआ है?
सर पहले पीछे बोनी गांव में सीजन लगाया था, उधर बहुत बढ़िया था, हमको कोई टेंशन नहीं था। पर इधर पहली बार आए थे जहाँ पे, अभी हफ्ता ही हुआ है हमारे को आए, इधर ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं हुआ। तो बस कल खर्चा लिया वीरवार को, तो कल ही 2 लोग आए तो गोली चला के चला गया हमारे आदमी को। अब हम इधर नहीं रहेंगे, उसको उधर हमारे को पता है, उसको गोली लगा दिया, कल को हमारे को भी लगा सकते हैं, हम नहीं इधर रहेंगे, हम चले जाएंगे।
तो कितने लोग यहाँ पे काम करते हैं, और इससे पहले क्या किसी ने आपको बताया था ख्याल रखने के लिए, पुलिस से कोई आया था या कोई आया था आपसे मिलने के लिए?
नहीं सर, हमारे पास तो नहीं आया था, पता नहीं बाबू के पास आया होगा, मुंशी के पास, हमारे पास नहीं था। हम लोग 7 आदमी थे, जो लड़के की डेथ हो गया ना, वो डालकर 7 आदमी थे हम लोग इधर, तो अभी 6 बचे हैं।
This is a temporary shelter where this labourer Dilkhush was living. This is his these are his belongings, and this is where several of them were actually residing. And you can see that you know, in this temporary shelter he was living, and that's when these eyewitnesses say that they came here, opened fire at him. There are also blood stains around this particular location, and then from here he was taken to the hospital where he later succumbed to his injuries. I'll show you this particular location also. You can see that this is their kitchen, where they used to make this very temporary kitchen that was being you know, made here to make sure that you know, they're able to cook. And then you know, the entire area does not have a lot of population, but this is a big clean area where he was shot at. Now interestingly, one has to see that how is the government able to save the lives of all those non-locals, minorities working in Kashmir Valley, because yesterday's fresh attack in which Dilkhush has lost his life and his another colleague has suffered injuries.
Right, we are stopping for a short break. Lots more on the other side. Stay with us.